Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world with me, Deepika, coming up in the next 30 minutes. India seeks permanent solution to border dispute with China. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh calls his Chinese counterpart on the sidelines of the SCO to restore trust deficit. Grand Jagannath Yatra begins in Odisha. Vibrant Hindu festival draws devotees from across the world. And Denmark holds one of its largest military exercises in Greenland since Cold War, downplays US interest in world's largest island. Good evening to all the viewers joining us at this current broadcast. To begin with the latest. Well, India has held discussions with Russia over the supply of S-400 systems, Su-30 MKI upgrades and procurement of critical military hardware in expeditious timeframes. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh held a bilateral meeting with his Russian counterpart Andrei Belousov on the sidelines of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Defence Ministers meeting in Qingdao, China. The two ministers held in-depth discussions on a range of issues covering current geopolitical situations, cross-border terrorism and Indo-Russian defence cooperation. During the meeting, the Russian defence minister highlighted the long-standing Indo-Russian relations and expressed solidarity with India on the horrendous and cowardly Pahalgam terror attack. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh held a bilateral meeting with his Chinese counterpart Admiral Dong Chun on the sidelines of Shanghai Cooperation Organization Defence Ministers meeting in China. The meeting, which was held on Thursday, focused on maintaining peace and tranquility along the Indo-China border. Minister Singh acknowledged the work being undertaken by both the sides to bring back semblance of normalcy in the bilateral relations, emphasizing the need for a structured roadmap to resolve complex issues through permanent engagement and de-escalation. Rajnath Singh also stressed on border management and to have a permanent solution of border demarcation by rejuvenating the established mechanism on the issue. The duo agreed to continue consultations at various levels to achieve progress on disengagement, de-escalation, border management and delimitation through existing mechanisms. Both the sides also appreciated the resumption of Kailash Mansarovar Yatra after a gap of 5 years. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh presented a Madhubani painting from Bihar to his Chinese counterpart General Dong Chun during their meeting. Now, this painting has its origin in the Mithila region of Bihar. It is also known as Mithila or Madhubani art. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh also held talks with leaders from Belarus, Tajikistan and Kazakhstan. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar supported Defence Minister Rajnath Singh's refusal to sign the Shanghai Cooperation Organization joint statement. Talking to the media in New Delhi on Friday, Dr. S. Jaishankar said there was one country that did not want a reference to terrorism in the joint SCO document.
The Shanghai Cooperation Organization, its objective was to fight terrorism. Okay? So this organization exists to fight terrorism. So what happened was, when Rajnath ji went for a defense ministers meeting and there was a discussion on the outcome document, one country, you can guess which one country said that no, we do not want a reference to that. Now, Rajnath ji's view rightly was that without that reference, when the main purpose of that organization is to fight terrorism and you are not allowing a reference to that, I am not prepared to accept it.
India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar spoke to his Iranian counterpart Sayyid Abbas Araghchi on Friday. In a social media post, the minister appreciated Araghchi sharing Iran's perspective and thinking in the current complex situation. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar also thanked him for facilitating the safe evacuation of Indian nationals. On the 50th anniversary of emergency in India, Dr. S. Jaishankar addressed a gathering and reminded the nation of the attack on the Indian Constitution and its democracy by the then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. Vishal Baristo reports.
5 marks 50 years of the brutal emergency imposed by then Prime Minister of India, Indira Gandhi, to protect herself from the court verdict that ordered her removal from the office. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar quoted the then President of India, Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed, imposing the emergency. It was a direct attack on our democracy and even the media was gagged, the minister said.
I, Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed, President of India, by this proclamation declare that a grave emergency exists whereby the security of India is threatened by internal disturbances.
Later, the minister, while addressing the media, spoke about how things have changed since 1975 to this day, when all party delegations were sent all across the world to explain India's viewpoint on Operation Sindoor.
All parties going out across the world, speaking in defense of our national interest, giving the message that terrorism is not acceptable. कि हमारी नीति है zero tolerance of terrorism, and if terrorism continues, we reserve the right to defend our people. This was the message that they carried.
A poster exhibition highlighting the impact of emergency on the democratic system of India was the highlight of the show.
While sharing his experiences of the emergency, the External Affairs Minister spoke about how the Indian diplomats had a very hard time defending the very cause and issue of emergency because India is known across the world as the mother of democracy. But it was not only at the international level, even the famous singers like Kishore Kumar were also banned in India simply because they refused to sing at a function of Youth Congress in India. With cameraman Anand Kashyap in Delhi, this is Vishal Baristo for DD India.
India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman chaired a meeting with the heads of public sector banks on Friday in New Delhi. The meeting was held to review the financial performance of the public sector banks and progress of various government flagship schemes. Well, this was the first review meeting after the Reserve Bank of India earlier this month carried out a policy rate cut of 50 basis points. Moving on, the Election Commission of India has started proceedings for the delisting of 345 registered unrecognized political parties (RUPPs) across the country. Now, these parties, according to the Election Commission, have failed to contest a single election since 2019 and are untraceable at their registered address. The poll panel, in its press statement issued on Thursday, stated that out of the over 2,800 RUPPs currently registered, many no longer meet the basic requirements for continued registration under Section 29A of the Representation of the People Act 1951. Under this provision, any association once registered as a political party gets certain privileges and advantages such as tax exemptions, amongst others. The move is seen as a step towards curbing misuse of political registration for undue advantages. Moving on, India's iconic Jagannath Rath Yatra is underway in the eastern state of Odisha, drawing devotees from across the world. Now, for nine days, millions witnessed Lord Jagannath Balabhadra and Subhadra's journey from Jagannath Temple to Gundicha Temple in massive ornate wooden chariots, symbolizing a visit to their aunt's abode. The festival dates back to the 13th century. This ancient procession celebrates unity and equality. The chariots are drawn by a multitude of devotees. Pulling the chariots is believed to cleanse sins and grant spiritual liberation. The festival will be concluding with the Bahuda Yatra on the 5th of July. The festival embodies devotion, cultural heritage and communal harmony. Lord Jagannath of Puri, Odisha has found a second home in northeast. It is the iconic Jagannath Temple in Dibrugarh, which is a replica of Jagannath Puri in Odisha and one of the second largest Jagannath Temple of India. The temple has turned into a major tourist attraction and witnesses a surge of footfalls, especially during the vibrant Rath Yatra festival.
Jagannath Kanta Shobhita Kaustava.
Nestled amidst the sprawling tea gardens and the clear blue skies of Dibrugarh, situated is one of the largest Jagannath temple in the world after the Jagannath temple in Puri, Odisha. The temple dedicated to Lord Jagannath is situated at the outskirts of Dibrugarh city. Spread over an area of 70,000 square feet, the temple was constructed in 2014 by the then Governor of Assam, late Janaki Ballabh Patnaik. An architectural marvel and now an iconic destination which symbolizes Dibrugarh, the Jagannath temple in Dibrugarh is modelled after the Jagannath temple in Puri. Composed of red fox stone and granite with finished carvings, it follows the Kalinga architectural style. The main shikhar of the temple reaches a height of 26 meters. Within the temple grounds, there are 7 temples dedicated to Mahaprabhu Jagannath, Balabhadra, Subhadra, Shiva, Ganesha, Hanuman, Devi and Navagraha. The temple, enclosed by a 3-meter high wall, adorns sculptures depicting scenes from Krishna Leela and Puranas. 2 entrances provide access to the temple, with the main entrance known as the Simhadwar or Lion Gate, characterized by lion portraits on both sides.
It is influenced by Odisha architectural design, and you will consider it as a replica of Jagannath temple worldwide in most of the places. And you will be amazed to know that whatever you are seeing on the wall is not stones, they are bricks, and the artisans have chiseled the bricks to give them a proper shape and design.
This is the first time in Assam that separate chariots will carry Lord Jagannath, Goddess Subhadra and Lord Balram, marking a spiritual milestone moment for Dibrugarh. Lakhs of devotees visit the Jagannath temple in Dibrugarh every year during Rath Yatra, thus reflecting their devotion, commitment and reverence towards recreating the Puri-like Rath Yatra experience in Assam. We dedicate Dibrugarh team, Subina Roy, DD India.
Time to take a short break, but still to come on the other side. Up next, we'll get you more details on US-China's understanding on rare earth exports. New Zealand announces a 15-member squad for next month's T20I Tri-Series featuring South Africa and Zimbabwe.
When resources are tight, it's time to rethink how we consume, how easily we throw things away, but often, bold ideas in our day-to-day lives can really turn things around.
In the mission, the school-level children are given the concept of waste management and circular economy.
The big advantage is you don't have to go back to the start of the chain like mining iron ore. You can reuse materials that have already been processed. So the sustainability aspects alone are incredibly valuable.
We are not trying to aim for fully automated, 100% digitized assets. We are always proposing a hybrid sort of operation where you're blending in technology where it's useful.
We have been making handicrafts from banana plants for quite some time now. Currently, we produce around 30 products.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India Live. Moving on. Now, 1 person was killed and 20 others wounded in Nepati district of southern Lebanon following Israeli strikes on Friday. Lebanese Prime Minister Nawaf Salam, in a statement, called the strikes a blatant violation of national sovereignty and the cessation of hostilities arrangements. Following the strikes, the Israeli military said its fighter jets had attacked a site used to manage Hezbollah's fire and defense system. A US-brokered truce in November ended a year-long war between Israel and Iran-backed Lebanese armed movement Hezbollah. The latest war between longtime foes Israel and Hezbollah began in October 2023 when Hezbollah launched rockets at Israeli military positions in solidarity with its Palestinian ally Hamas. The Israeli army has said that its mission in Gaza is not yet complete and that it was continuing to operate against Hamas in Gaza. Take a listen.
We remain alert on all fronts. We are preparing for a variety of scenarios and continuing to operate against Hamas in Gaza alongside our efforts to return all hostages. The mission is not yet complete. 50 hostages remain in captivity.
While Iran has denied any meeting with the United States on nuclear talks next week and accused Washington of exaggerating the impact of US strikes, Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said that no arrangement or commitment was made to resume negotiations with the United States. In an interview on state television, Araghchi said that the possibility of restarting talks would depend on whether Tehran's national interests were protected following previous rounds of negotiations that were cut short by Israel and the US attacking Iranian nuclear facilities.
No agreement has been made to resume negotiations now. I am stating clearly that no agreement has been made. No promise has been made, nor have we talked at all about restarting negotiations. But the fact that we are examining among ourselves what is in the interest of the Iranian people is another discussion. So far, there has been no agreement, no subject for negotiation.
US President Donald Trump has said on Wednesday that the US and Iran would meet next week, describing the recent Pentagon strikes on Iranian nuclear sites as a success. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz on Friday urged Iran to return to the negotiating table over its nuclear program amid rising tensions in the region. Speaking at a joint press conference in Berlin with Austrian Chancellor Christian Stocker, Merz said Iran must avoid further escalating the conflict and instead focus on diplomacy. The call comes amid growing global concern over Iran's uranium enrichment activities and regional instability.
Iran must not fuel the conflict over its nuclear program any further. The country must come to the negotiation table. We will do our part to stabilize the situation in the region.
While Denmark is ramping up its Arctic defences, launching one of its largest ever military drills in Greenland this month, a frigate F-16 fighter jets, special forces and extra troops have been deployed, along with enhanced surveillance of critical infrastructure. The move comes amid growing strategic tensions in the Arctic. While Denmark downplays the idea of a US takeover of Greenland, officials stress the need to deter any potential Russian threat. US President Donald Trump said on Thursday that America has signed a deal with China. Now, Trump made the remarks while speaking at the Big Beautiful Bill event. After talks in Geneva in May, Washington and Beijing had agreed to temporarily lower steep tit-for-tat tariffs on each other's products. China also committed to easing some non-tariff countermeasures, but US officials later accused Beijing of violating the pact and slow-walking export license approvals for rare earths. Both the sides eventually agreed on a framework to move forward with their Geneva consensus following talks in London this month. China on Friday called for strengthening cooperation with Washington in response to a question on whether Beijing could provide more details on the framework of implementing the Geneva Trade Talk Consensus. Now, during US-China trade talks in the month of May in Geneva, Beijing committed to removing non-tariff countermeasures imposed against the United States since the 2nd of April, although it was unclear how some of those measures would be walked back.
A spokesperson for the Chinese Ministry of Commerce had already made relevant comments on this matter.
I would like to stress that we hope that the United States side will work with China to implement the important consensus reached during the phone call between the two heads of states. We should leverage the China-US economic and trade consultation mechanism, enhance mutual understanding through communication and dialogue, reduce misunderstandings, strengthen cooperation, and promote the stable, healthy, and sustainable development of China-US relations.
British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has scaled back planned welfare cuts by a major rebellion by Labour lawmakers. The plan, which aimed to save $6.9 billion annually off a rapidly rising welfare bill, was publicly opposed by over 100 Labour MPs. They argued that the reforms lacked support for disabled people and those with long-term health conditions. The reforms are set to be put to a vote in Parliament on the 1st of July. The turnaround comes just before Starmer marks the first anniversary of a rocky return to power for the Labour after 14 years in opposition to the Conservatives. Moving on to sports now, to begin with hockey. The Indian hockey women's hockey team will face Asian rivals China and hope to end their losing streak in FIH Hockey Pro League in Berlin. The Salima Tete-led squad will face China in a double-header on Saturday and Sunday. While China is currently placed in the 4th position in the Pro League points table, India is placed last in the 9th position. On the other hand, the men's team managed to end their campaign with a spirited victory against Belgium. Now, this helped them finish in the 8th position on the points table, only ahead of Ireland. In badminton, young Indian shuttler Ayush Shetty and Tanvi Sharma advanced to the quarter-final round of the 2025 US Open Super 300 tournament. Ayush Shetty defeated compatriot Tarun in a tight 3-game second-round match. Meanwhile, Tanvi pulled off a major upset at the US Open, defeating former junior world champion Pichutum. Currently ranked number 2 in the BWF World Rankings, in the junior category, Tanvi is set to lead India's women's singles challenge at the Badminton Asian Junior Championship event. In cricket, New Zealand have announced a 15-member squad for next month's T20I series featuring South Africa and Zimbabwe. Former captain Kane Williamson made himself unavailable while playing for Middlesex in England's County Championship. Auckland batter Bevan Jacobs is the only uncapped player in the 15-man squad. Fast bowler Adam has been recalled for the first time since November after performing well in Major League Cricket in the United States. Batters Finn Allen and Tim Seifert also returned to the squad, which will be captained by Mitchell Santner. Now, the International Cricket Council, or the ICC, announced new power play rules for shortened T20 matches with a clearly defined number of overs and fielding restrictions. As per the new rules effective from July, a reduced game of an 8-over in an innings would have 2.2 overs of power play with only 2 fielders outside the 30-yard circle. For every over, 2 balls of power play will be counted. For instance, for a 5-over innings, 1.3 overs will be of power play, whereas a 6-over innings will have 1.5 overs of power play. In soccer, with just one match day left of the group stages, most of the clubs are now preparing for the knockout round of the inaugural FIFA Club World Cup. Despite of a poor run recently, Messi's Inter Miami fought against all the odds and qualified for the last 16. Inter Miami will have to dig deep as they will face Champions League winners PSG in round 16 on Sunday. Elsewhere, Bayern Munich will be looking to bounce back from a disappointing 1-0 defeat to Benfica. The German Giants will take on an unbeaten Flamengo side who topped the Group D after beating Chelsea by 3-1. Meanwhile, Borussia Dortmund will meet Group E runners-up Montenegro in the knockouts. And that's all for this edition of DD India Live, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from the country and the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download it right now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Deepika, and from all of us here in New Delhi, thank you so much for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.